1 deciliter water approximately, sensor, and the VNA, and one of the trays is copied to memory and another trace is live trace now. So if you take a look at that, I detune by hand one of the blades, the middle point of the coax cable. You can see that one of the traces is staying, otherwise detuning. I'm a little bit moved away the blades, so I have to make another reset, saving data to memory, and now it's reset again, and the memory and the live trace is now the same. It looks like very sensitive to any movement, and the frequency scale is now from about 1 megahertz to 1 gigahertz. You can see here the trace values. By the way, I have 3 markers. Marker values. Try to put the water away from the sensor or the antenna, because I don't want to disturb it. Not sure what it would be the correct measurement, probably some kind of exact speed and repeated speed drops. And also I can imagine that it needs some time for the soil to dispense the water equally around. Basically, this plant was completely dry, I would say. Didn't get any artificial watering since a few weeks or maybe months. Yes, something starts to happen. 1 gigahertz, so any grid, the major grid is 100 megahertz, so 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, oops, sorry, 1, 2, at 3 megahertz, something starts to happen about 200 megahertz. So on the lower domain, as you can see, the 50, 25, 100 megahertz. So these three markers are not really moved. The 200 megahertz a little bit, but as you take a look at the higher domain, there are much more response. Probably this is the biggest change here at 350 megahertz. Let's continue the watering. This water was approximately 1 deciliter. Try to show both the water droplets and the change in the phase. Probably it's the best idea if I make a new marker here, or maybe moving marker 1 to 350 megahertz. Yeah, so you can now track here the change of the phase. It's going down to 2 digit in the real part, the number, so it's 100 precision measurement of the degree of the phase change. Yeah, maybe this is not the most sophisticated setup which ever built and not repeatable, but yeah, it's just a quick demonstration. What is the correlation between the watering and the phase change on the vector network analyzer? Here you can see marker 1, which is 350 megahertz. That makes the biggest response here in our case. Possibly it depends. And as you can see on the 25 megahertz and 50 megahertz markers, it's marker 2 and 3, which is 50 and 100 megahertz, almost no change, or little tiny change. So it's probably a better idea to go this frequency domain, which is the more sensitive to the phase change, but also I can imagine it depends on the blades used. I'm using a simple RF connector here and the 2 copper plates, which are about 8 centimeters long. phase at 350 megahertz is already 38 degree, so there's almost 10 degree change compared to the dry soil. We can see some water accumulating at the plate of this flower container. Probably this type of soil was quickly letting the water go, and also it was really dry, so it cannot really absorb the water instantly, but would need some time. That's never mind. The degree is 35. This, I would need to mention that this was not a calibrated initial condition of the phase for this coax cable. I'm simply making here a relative measurement to the starting point when I reset the marker with the data trace, and the marker, but here the trace. So there is a data to memory option, and this is what I use, the blue one or the purple one. Maybe the purple one is the memory and another one is the real data. I can imagine that still would need some time, like a half hour or something like that, to be stabilize the whole setup. I can leave the analyzer here and we'll come back once I see the numbers are stable, or I will try to make a time lapse.